Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday morning devotional brought to you by Golden Isles Primitive Baptist Fellowship. I'm Vernon Eckleberry, and this morning I have a lesson for you from the 20th chapter of 2 Chronicles. And the lesson is entitled, The Fallen Enemy and the Spoils of Victory. The Fallen Enemy and the Spoils of Victory. As the people of Judah entered what should have been the place where the battle was waged against their enemy, they found instead that God had been there, that prayers had been answered, and the enemy was already defeated. In chapter 20 of 2 Chronicles, verse 24, it is recorded what they found. And when Judah came toward the watchtower in the wilderness, they looked unto the multitude, and behold, they were dead bodies, fallen to the earth, and none escaped. But what else they found was astounding. The promise had been, before they ever went to face their enemy, the promise was, according to verse 20 in this 20th chapter of 2 Chronicles, believe in the Lord your God, so shall ye be established. Believe his prophets, and so shall ye prosper. Now that word prosper is a verb meaning to do well, to succeed. It applies to someone that is successful in some endeavor, to prosper both victoriously and materially. That's what the promise was. And that's what God does. They expected and they prayed for success against their enemy. But God prospered them so that there was much more. And according to Paul, that's the way it is with our God. He prayed that God is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think. Ephesians 3:20. Abundantly above, a powerful phrase. In the original Greek, it's a word meaning to surpass or to go beyond measure. The Judeans found an abundance of riches and precious jewels. Verse 25, and when Jehoshaphat and his people came to take away the spoil of them, they found among them in abundance both riches with the dead bodies and precious jewels, which they stripped off for themselves more than they could carry away, and they were 3 days gathering the spoil, that it was so much. It is recorded. So they received not only the victory, but also a great bounty. And our prayers are like Judah's, like Jehoshaphat's, limited pretty much to our experience and to what we know about God and about the world and about His Word and about how things work in general. But Job was in this same situation during a time of his troubles. He was in a hopeless situation, he thought, and he could only pray for what he thought, what he knew, based on experience, would be the only remedy for this hopeless situation, and that was that God would take his life away. But Zophar, a friend, not a great friend, but a friend, rebuked Job and reminded Job of this. Can you fathom, he said to Job, can you fathom the depths of God or discover the limits of the Almighty? Can you even begin to think in terms of what God is capable of doing? And in the end, Job received in his answer to a feeble prayer far more than he could have imagined, far more than he knew to pray for. Job 42:10 tells us the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. That's the way it all ended. Now Jehoshaphat and Judea prayed for deliverance from their enemy, but they reaped far more. They found among the defeated enemy an abundance both of riches and of precious jewels, which they began gathering. And this applies to all God's people. Not that we're going to come into the possession of riches and precious jewels in our prayers for whatever our need is, but always it's going to be the case that God delivers far more than we know to ask for. After all, we pray for what we think we need, and God delivers what we really need. But James warns in James 4:3, in the face of this principle that God is capable of bringing to us so much more than we could think or ask for, James warns lest we try to abuse this principle. In James 4:3, you ask and do not receive. Now, why is that? Because you ask wrongly to spend it on your passions. Now, this flies in the face of that name it and claim it theology that is espoused by the preachers of prosperity. Praying that God will give us an abundance of riches and things is, according to James, asking wrongly to spend it on our own passions. It's the other way. We ask for what we need, those essentials, our daily bread, for instance, and healing in some cases. And then God always brings more to it than what we were able to ask for. The people of Judah got it right. They praised God and they asked God simply for deliverance from that enemy that was coming after them, that was set to destroy them. And God granted that. And for the rest, they were abundantly thankful, as we find in the following verses, when they went out, and on the fourth day they assembled themselves in the valley. Verse 26 says, the valley of Barakah, for there they blessed the Lord. Therefore the name of the place was called the Valley of Barakah unto this day. And that word Barakah, by the way, is translated blessing. The valley of doom became the valley of blessing. That's the way our God does things on behalf of the people that He dearly loves. Now, next week, we're going to look at Jehoshaphat's fatal flaw, however. And we ask the question, when is enough enough? But until then, may God bless you till we meet again.